It's your host, Leani Lopez, here with another episode of I Got Nothing, a podcast for exhausted writers. So, I just want to thank everybody who's listened to the first 3 episodes already. It's been really great sharing them with you guys, and I'm excited to do more. So this week's topic, I wanted to talk about confidence in writing. Now, I know that can be a really broad subject. So I want to focus mainly on having confidence in yourself when you are writing. A lot of people will ask, what does that even mean? And I wish there was a straightforward answer. I wish there was an easy one. But it takes a long time to have confidence in your own writing ability. And I know it's something that even the most well-established writer struggles with. Some of you may have heard the term before known as imposter syndrome. For those of you who haven't, oh man, what's the best way to describe imposter syndrome? Essentially, it's feeling like you're a fraud. Even when you're doing something that you work hard at and have some skill in. A lot of times it's accompanied by this feeling of, oh man, I have fooled everyone into thinking I'm really good at this, but I really don't think I am. Essentially, that's what imposter syndrome is. I have been writing since I was 10. I'm 32 now. For the last 2.5, almost 3 years, I have been writing professionally as a job. I have a 4 years bachelor degree in writing. And I still feel like I have tricked people into thinking I'm good at something that I'm not really good at. Logically, I know that I'm a fairly decent writer. But anxiety and imposter syndrome in particular don't really follow logic. It's all fairly emotional. I will say that I have learned more about writing and my own skill set in the last 2.5 years than I did in college and most of my life. One of the main things I've taken away from my experience is that good writing is almost never quick and easy. Sometimes it can be quick, and other times it can be easy, or at least the words flow is what I mean. But usually it's neither both of those things. But that's okay, it doesn't have to be. I think some of the problem is that we as human beings tend to compare ourselves to others. It's a natural instinct. It's something most of us do without realizing and can't really help. But I noticed for me it's particularly prevalent when I am reading something from another writer. I always find things that I feel they do better than I do. I always oh man, they could describe that so well and flowery, and I can't really do that, or I kind of have a scene done a certain way, and then I read somebody who wrote a similar scene, and I'm like, oh man, that's way better than what I was thinking. It's natural to compare and contrast, especially when you're an artist or do anything creative. Chances are you're hypercritical of what you create already. And that's kind of where the confidence issue and imposter syndrome come in. Now, when I say confidence in writing, this is not about feeling superior. It's not about feeling better than anyone else. That's not the kind of confidence I mean. What I mean is having the confidence in your own skills and in the knowledge that you are capable. I struggle with this every single time I sit down to write. I've been ghostwriting for a few years now. I've had the same client for some time. We have a great rapport. We have a great back and forth. And yet, every single time I'm contracted for a new project or I sit down to start a new project, I have a good 5 to 10 minutes where I'm like, oh God, I can't do this. Oh God, I tricked them into thinking I can do this. Oh God, I don't know what I'm doing. Despite the fact that I've had several projects with them already, and I very clearly do know what I'm doing, to some degree, it's just a gut instinct to immediately think I don't. And it's something I'm working on, hence why I'm in therapy, among other reasons. But it's a very real struggle. It is an insanely difficult struggle to get through. Mostly because it can be very paralyzing. I have dealt with anxiety pretty much since I was a teenager, only I didn't realize it was anxiety until much, much later in life. So it sort of amazes me that there are people out there who don't get anxious about things, who kind of see a challenge and something new and they're like, yeah, great, let's do it. And not like, oh God, okay, breathe. Like, it's just more power to you that you can do that. That is definitely not me. And I know that's not a lot of my friends. So it's difficult to explain anxiety to someone who hasn't been through it themselves. The way I was able to explain it to a friend one time is think about something that makes you really excited, something that you're going to do, whether it be, go on stage or get up and make a presentation or something like that. And usually there's this brief moment where your stomach kind of tightens and you kind of get jittery and you're just like, okay, it's like the anticipation of something happening. That's anxiety, but for everything. Essentially, you have that feeling all the time. It's very exhausting. It's very annoying. You get sick of it real fast when you have it. But it's a very real thing. And it's something that also affects my writing. As much as I would love it not to, it does. And over the years, I've gotten better at handling it. I've been able to learn how to work through it, mostly because I have no choice if I want to get paid and get the job done. But also because I have a really great support system. I have a great core group of people who know me and who know my writing and are there to kind of cheer me on when I can't cheer myself on. I guess the main struggle with it is you hear people say, oh, it's fine, it's all in your head. Yeah, no shit, it's all in your head. That's kind of the problem. When anxiety like that takes over, it's very difficult to talk yourself down from it. And sometimes if it goes on long enough, it's near impossible. You need an outside influence or an outside voice of reason to help you with that, or some other way to kind of work yourself through it. As a side note, if you are dealing with anxiety, I strongly
suggest you seek professional help. I have been seeing a therapist on and off for the last, 5 or 6 years. And it's really, really helped a lot. She's taught me a lot of tools on how to work through it on my own. And has also helped me work on expressing my anxiety better and expressing what I need better. So, again, just sidebar, it's okay to ask for help for anxiety. More people have it than you think. Anyways, as I was saying, the thing about anxiety is it's in your head, and when you get to thinking about it and you're having a lack of confidence in your writing ability or in your creativity in general, you can absolutely get into your own head about it. You can't help it. That's just where all the anxiety is. So naturally, you look inward to that. I have had numerous projects where I've sat there staring at a blank page and going, oh God, okay, well this scene's first and I have to write this scene, but then after this scene is this one and I don't know how I'm going to do this scene, and it just spirals from there to the point where I'm not actually writing, I'm just literally staring at a blank document. So that's what I mean by getting in your own head. Like I mentioned before, good writing is almost never quick and never easy. So the best thing to do is just take it one sentence at a time. I know it's easier said than done, but try not to think of what's supposed to come next and just think of what's in front of you. There are also a couple times, if I'm feeling that anxiety, which thankfully I haven't felt in some time, but there are a couple times where, none of the tricks are working, none of the sweet words or talking down really helps. And usually that's when you have to take a break and just kind of sit back, reset, do something that calms you down, and then come back to it when you're in a more relaxed state. But one of the big points I have that I wanted to say, and I'm sure I've said that already, they're all big points, but one of the main ones I wanted to express is to be gentle with yourself and understand that it's a learning process. It's always a learning process. Anytime you are exercising your craft, creating something, you're learning along the way. Every artist started from nothing. Every writer started from nothing. Everyone who has created anything has started from just a blank slate. And they learned along the way. One of the things there was something I thought to myself a few years ago. It kind of just struck me out of the blue. And the reason why I remember it is because it was a very strange and straightforward thing for me to think at the time. This was at the height of my anxiety, where I was fairly uncertain about everything. But it stuck with me, and I don't remember it as much as I should, which is why I'm recording it, so that future Leani can play it back. But you only fail if you don't learn something. At least in my experience, for myself. The only time I feel like I truly failed at anything I started to create or do was when I didn't get something from it or take something from it. Yeah, the book may not have been finished, or, the project may have just been scrapped or what have you. But there was something in that project that I needed to learn in order to move on. May not have been move on with that piece of art or writing or what have you, but just move on in general and grow from there. It's really important to celebrate the little victories. One of the things I get into my head about is that for ghostwriting, I typically have a word count that I need to hit. And that can be very daunting, especially when you're drawing towards the end of the story or the outline, and you realize you still got about 10,000 more words of this thing you need to write, because that's what you're contracted for. This happened with the last project I was working on. It was going great, and I had some time off here and there just with holidays and my own health issues. But when the writing happened, it flowed. I was doing great. I didn't really have to skip any scenes and come back to them later. And as I'm scrolling through the outline, I realize all I have left in the story is a chapter and a half and 2 epilogues and a small teaser for the next book. And I still had 15,000 words, 15,000 words I needed to write. Needless to say, I panicked a little bit. I was like, oh God, oh no, okay, I'm writing too fast, I'm using too few words, what scene can I go back and flesh out? Oh my God. Without failing to realize, again, I had a chapter and a half and 2 epilogues and a teaser to write. The chapters themselves were about 3,000 to 4,000 words each. Plus, the epilogues were going to be long, and the teaser could be as long as it needed to be. So I could very easily do 15,000 words and more if I got a little bit more wordy. But because I was focusing on that word count, that logic just went right out the window. Just, boop, nope, gone. Gone from Leani's head. Didn't make sense. I was a failure. I wasn't going to get this done. So I had to take a step back, stop writing for the day, and then sort of do some quick math, which, us English majors, not always our strong suit. And then I calmed myself down going, oh, wait, no, that's good. And, if I still have some words left when these chapters are drafted, I'll just, reread what I've written so far and just flesh out things along the way. And that's exactly what I did, and it worked out fine. A year ago, I would not have been able to do that. But because I had been through this a couple times, I was able to work myself through it better because I learned from my previous experience. One of the things I started doing was setting a really small daily word count for myself, and then kind of increasing it as I went along. I also tried not to scold myself if I didn't hit that word count that day. Thankfully, my project is a little flexible, so I'm not working on a tight deadline, which helps. But focusing on the small victories and being like, oh, I wrote 100 words today. Or like, hey, I wrote like 300 words today. I did that over time to the point where I can pretty much write on a good day 1,000 words in about an hour, maybe a little less than that. And 1,000 words is my word count for the day. Sometimes it goes great. Sometimes I hit that 1,000 and I'm like, yeah, great, I'm going in a groove, I'll keep going. Other days I get 200 and I'm like, nope, not happening today. Nope, and I don't force it, and I just kind of let it be, and then like a couple days later I'll write like 3,000. So I just learned to be easy and compassionate with myself and remind myself that it's not a sprint. I can take my time, and I just celebrate when I write anything. Like, hey, yeah, I wrote 5 words today. Great. Done for the day. And that may sound sarcastic, and part of it is, but I've definitely had days where I've done that, where I wrote like 20 words and I was like, yeah, all right, and then called it a day. So just celebrate the little victories. Because at the very least, you're writing something. I talked about this on another episode, and it's really not feasible to write every day. That's something else I've learned in the last few years of doing this professionally. It's just not feasible. Especially if you have anxiety like I do, or have the physical health problems that I've been dealing with. On top of that, I'm a wife and mother, so I got other responsibilities. And I have a very lovely cat who likes to sit on my laptop when I'm not paying attention to him. So if you don't write every day, that's totally fine. Don't beat yourself up about it. Just celebrate the little victories. Also, if you can, find a writing community or a close-knit group of trusted readers or a person that you trust to read your stuff, because it really, really helps to have other people reading your things. That's a big reason why when I'm working on a ghostwriting project and also my own original work, that I'm usually doing fan fiction in between there. I get that feedback from the community, and it keeps my creative flow going. So find a writing community, fan fiction community, group of readers, friends, whoever. Maybe even if it's just one person that you share your writing with. Just find someone you trust to share your writing with. It really does make a difference. There's been plenty of times where I'm stuck on something writing-wise, and I'm talking to my husband, and I'm telling him about it, and he's not saying a thing, and then I kind of talk myself through the plot, and I'm like, okay, I figured it out. And he's like, great, glad I could help, and he didn't say a word. Writers need to talk at people sometimes. It's totally fine. It's totally normal. Do it all the time. Just find someone that you can do that with. And eventually, the more you practice, the more you branch out and go out of your comfort zone a little, the more you're going to grow and learn, and the more confidence you'll have in your writing. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to talk about today. I hope you guys are enjoying these episodes. I definitely am. And I have a few more in the works. If you have any questions or topics or things you'd like me to discuss, shoot me a message. Let me know. I would love to hear suggestions on what you guys want to listen to. All right. Well, anywho, again, I'm Leani Lopez. Thank you for listening to I Got Nothing. Talk to you soon. Bye.